Bitcoin dropped to the downside exactly as I had told you guys a couple of days ago that we might potentially only go to $50,000 around these kind of levels, and from there gonna get a bigger rejection to the downside, and that is exactly what happened here. And now, of course, everybody wants to know how low we are potentially are going. Is this already all over? And what is the next Bitcoin trade? And is there potentially even something better? All of that is something that I want to talk about today. So make sure that you are subscribed to the channel, you like this video, and also activate the bell so that you will never miss out on one of these important updates. And now let me show you what I found here. I want to start off, or I show you something crazy with the daily chart. And again, I want to talk about the Bollinger Bands and the Bollinger Bandwidth. So first, you see that we broke out of the Bollinger Band. There was also something that I mentioned. And we went almost to $50,000. We went to $49,000 and 25, something like that. And then came straight back into the Bollinger Bands and came all the way to the bottom of it. And that is nothing surprising to me. If you're already for a long time in this market, for a couple of years, you have seen moves like that happen from time to time. So it's not something spectacular if you're already a little bit around here. Of course, if you're new, it's a little bit different. So, but anyway, here's something what I want to point out is that we have lost the middle band of the Bollinger Band, and that is indicative for a bearish trend change. And that could mean that we have still a couple days left where Bitcoin will chop here into lower levels, but will stay within the Bollinger Band. So we could see here a potential move to like $40,700, $800 based on the Bollinger Band, and also see then increasing volatility here on the Bollinger Bandwidth, where now we are outside the low volatility area. So there should be usually coming some kind of a bigger swing here to the upside. And that could also mean that by tomorrow, after tomorrow on Monday, that we could see a scam pump back to the upside, to the top of the Bollinger Band, back to $47,000. That's definitely possible after such a big news event that we had. Not because remember what I posted, I did it on Twitter or I did it on in the Discord. I cannot remember anymore. But I said there will be a pump, there will be a dump, there will be another pump, then there will be another small correction, and then there will be another bigger pump. So we got basically more or less everything besides another pump back to the upside, and afterwards we get consolidation into the halving. So I can imagine that the new consolidation phase is here from 42,000 to something like $46,000 into the halving. I can imagine that this could be our range, because the $42,000 level has given beautifully here support, and it was also confirmed support over here and here in this area. So this is for quite a while already a bigger support level. And I can imagine that this might be our bottom area for the midterm, but for the short term, I believe we could lose it for a short period of time. And I'm going to show you in a moment why that is. Here is one of the reasons for that. And this is here on CoinGlass, the Bitcoin net unrealized profit loss chart. And what it basically tells you is when people are starting to take profit, or when they are in, and you see here, every time when we come up here to this red level, people are massively in profit. And what do people when they're massively in profit? They take their profit off the table. And that leads then to that the price is correcting because they are basically selling off. And I'm not surprised about that. I told this situation also to my friends. Watch what's going to happen when we go close to $50,000. People will start taking profits because they were for 2 years basically stuck with their entry price, because they bought 2 years ago the top. So they got stuck for 2 years. And now they want to either get out, or they made a slight profit, and because of that they want to get out, because they just don't want to have their capital sitting there for potentially again 2 years, because they just have no clue what they are doing. So these are retail investors. They don't know how to read a chart. They just bought it because it was hyped 2 years ago and they saw it going higher and higher and thought it's a good idea to jump in before it goes to 100, 200K. And then they had a really bitter awakening when we went for a 2 years bear cycle. And now that they're finally slightly in a profit or a break even, what they do, they're still scared, so they take the money out. And this was then one of the reasons why we saw this correction happening. Another reason for that here on the weekly chart is that we tapped into the golden ratio that I was also pointing out for such a long time already, the 0.618, the $48,645 level got tapped and even a little bit higher. So we went almost to the middle of the golden ratio here and got rejected from it. Exactly as I had predicted it, guys. And I also told you this is the perfect short level if you're looking for a short-term short on Bitcoin. So if you caught it, you are heavily in profits right now. But here's also something really interesting. Again, here, this 42,150, 43,573 area seems to hold as support here also on the weekly chart. I was expecting that once we're coming down, that this level will not hold, that we potentially retest this with a bearish retest and then continue lower. And this did not happen. This is for me quite bullish for the moment, as long as we can clinch on that $42,182 price level. Because if we bottom out here and go up from here then into the halving, then just after the halving, I could imagine that we straight away get a new all-time high, like a week or two after the halving. I can definitely see that if we can hold this $42,000 level and are not going to lose it after, basically until the halving is done. On the shorter time frames, things look a little bit different here. So first of all, we came back into this prior big trading range that I was also for so long talking about, because we were stuck also for quite a while in there. When we go back here, we see it. This has still huge importance to us because here the middle level of it is around $42,000. Here, if we can maintain to hold this level, we will definitely see a retest of the upper end with a potential break through it, and we get sent again. This is here at $43,500. The upper end of that range, and here the midband is at 42,000 and the bottom would be at $40,500. And there is a chance that in the short term we actually going to see this being tapped, but I think if it gets tapped we come straight back up here to at least 42,200, something like that. I'm gonna show you here based on that chart why we could potentially go down there in the near future, and this is untapped liquidity here. Here are still long liquidation levels. They're untapped because these people are still in profit. So they should have taken a little bit of profit off the table, and I hope they did so, because the liquidation levels, they're still all here, and this is untapped liquidity. So I could imagine the same what happened to the upside, that we see here all this kind of liquidity being tapped, and the super low leverage ones are getting not tapped at all, like we did to the upside. If that would be the case, then in the worst case, we would go down to $38,340. But there is a technical level and a key level at 39,700. So I would imagine that we see another quick dump to the downside with a wick tapping this level, and then we come back up, start consolidating, and then we slowly are grinding here back up. But we might stay into that trading range from 42 to 40, what was it? $45,000? 43,000, yeah. Between 42 and 43,500 until the halving. So, but this would be fine because altcoins in that time will go absolutely crazy. And we also talk about that in a moment. Now here on the 3-day liquidation chart on the heat map, we see now that for the moment, liquidity is to the upside for us. Let me actually move that to a monthly chart just to be sure. Yeah, you see here, the underlying liquidity was heavily tapped already all this year. There is one level that makes me think that we might go still go a little bit lower. That is here this $40,250 level, and that level could be what I just was talking about, that we just with a wick tap $39,700 and shoot straight back up. And otherwise, liquidity is right now already staking up to the upside, and that is a good sign for us, because if here's so much short liquidity and liquidations to be taken out, what is the most likely direction again where we will be going? To the upside, as I had told you in the past, and I was with my directions always correct. You can go back to any video that you want. I always said for the last 3 weeks the direction is to the upside to tap $48,000, and then in the last 5-6 days just before the ETF, I said there is a potential chance that we go even higher. But the worst case was always $48,000 for me. So go back and have a look. I always said for almost a month, the direction is to the upside because of the liquidity that was sitting there. And now, even though we got here all this liquidity be taken out, degenerate people jumped directly in super crazy short positions and were filling this again completely up here. So again, liquidity wise, there is a bigger move to the upside definitely coming. The only thing right now is to tap here $40,000 is closer to us than move here back up right now. And it also takes less momentum now to push the price down than to the upside for market makers. So that's hence I'm saying we could see first coming down to 40,000 before we see that move back to the upside. And guys, don't forget, if you want to trade all the directions that I'm giving you, then don't forget to sign up on BYBIT. You still get $30,000 for signing up there, but only with this specific link here. Or if you want to copy trade me and you don't want to KYC or use a VPN, go to CoinW. You can copy trade me there from tomorrow potentially onwards. Otherwise, I'm already copy trading on FAIRDESK, and there you still get the highest bonus in the industry, $120,000, if you sign up with my specific link here, guys. When I'm looking here in the shorter time frames, first of all, we had here a massive rising wedge. I think was it something like this here? So here this rising wedge has broken to the downside. Here again, the bottom of the rising wedge normally would be the target, $36,600. There is also a chance that we are getting there, a slim one, but there is statistically, when I look at liquidation levels, the possibility that we're actually going there, because the low leveraged long liquidation levels are sitting around that specific price here. Do I believe that we are going there for the time being? No. One reason why I believe that we are not potentially going there is that we would push back up from $37,900 approximately. So this is for me right now the lowest level that I could see us going. And then here to the upside, we have here, as I mentioned, a support level here of around $40,900 too. As long as we are not breaking $40,900, I'm not really concerned about the Bitcoin price for the time being. And here also the stochastic RSI is already pointing to the upside for momentum shift. The only thing that I'm waiting for is a confirmed bullish divergence that is not there for the time being. So there is actually on the daily chart, I saw it earlier, there is technically still a bearish divergence. So you see here, and the price went up at the same time. So, but this might be already completed. So because we have broken here all these prior lows, so this bearish divergence might be already done. So that also tells us that the worst is potentially here already over, and that is of course good news for us. Now, when I go to the Bitcoin dominance, the dominance while Bitcoin was selling off was also breaking down. That and we got the best case scenario for that. In most cases, a lot of altcoins went to the upside, and another reason for the dominance to drop was that Ethereum was outperforming Bitcoin, and that also led to capital rotation into Ethereum because everybody understood the Bitcoin ETF play is over. The next play is Ethereum because there we also get a potential Bitcoin spot ETF this year. Ethereum ETF this year. And now the next play is the Ethereum ETF. So capital rotated, and that also led to capital rotation into beta plays on Ethereum. Hence, the dominance dropped here massively to the downside. So now what I don't want to see is basically here always a red trend, a green trend, and again a red trend and another green trend. Like if this would be Heikenhashi candles. So I don't want to see something like that. I rather have here this red candle that is pushing down today, pushing a little bit lower, and tomorrow get some sideways chop on the dominance, and let it chop sideways for like 3-4 days before we get another leg to the downside. So I rather have some sideways chop, then a leg down, then another sideways chop with a leg down, instead of these massive swings here, completely in red, completely in green, completely in red, and potentially again completely in green. I don't want to see something like that because it is just crushing our altcoin portfolios if something like this is going on for a long period of time. If we can break 51.1%, we will continue to move here lower to potentially 50%, and my midterm target is still here under 50%, 49 to 48%, before I see here a bigger reversal in altcoins. And this is also the first big level where I will take profits on my altcoins. Yeah, before we get, and that could coincide with the halving, and then you're gonna see from here Bitcoin performing again with a run after the halving, where where altcoins are going to bleed, and then you want to be rather in Bitcoin than in altcoins, and then you just wait again for the same thing happening again. When the chart is rolling over, you get back into altcoins, and then we have the real altcoin season coming up, where I'm targeting here 43% on the Bitcoin dominance to take profit on my altcoins. The total market cap also is still here in altcoin season territory. We tapped here also, exactly as I pointed out, $1.79 trillion got rejected from there. That was also something that I mentioned to you guys, that I would expect something like this, because it's a key level also. If we would have broken it, altcoins would have went absolutely crazy. And I did not see this happening in the short term. Now with the next run up into that level, I definitely see it going to be broken, but it was not the moment yet, and I was convinced that this level will actually hold and we get this rejection here to the downside. But I'm again surprised that here our $1.62 trillion level is holding. I was expecting that we are turning this also again into resistance, but for now it's holding, which is also kind of bullish in the short term and midterm for altcoins to me. Now let's talk about Ethereum. Ethereum is super bullish right now. And why I'm still so bullish on Ethereum? So first of all, we saw a bigger correction here to $2,450 approximately. If you remember, guys, that was also a level that I had mentioned several times, and that this held now as support is super bullish. Ethereum needs to reclaim here the extended golden ratio of 1.618, 1.65 at around $2,600. And once we reclaim that, there is here the 2.618 that has to be taken out. And afterwards, Ethereum will run really quick to $3,000. I believe in the next 2 weeks that Ethereum will reclaim $2,600 and give it another 2 to 3 weeks to move here to the next golden ratio here of $2,876. Afterwards, it will take only a couple of days for Ethereum to touch $3,000. We have seen it in the past when we came into this level here of $2,800, that Ethereum did, I think it took 2 days for Ethereum to run into $3,000 to test it for the first time. And I expect something similar to be happening again when we are getting there. The EMA ribbon is also giving us support here on the 4-hourly on the upper end. Remember, guys, you know the drill already. If the price moves away from the EMA ribbon, it comes back at some point to retest it. If the retest is successful, trend continues to go to the upside, and nothing else would I expect it from Ethereum. How would I trade Ethereum right now? If the Ethereum price can stay above the daily open until the daily close, then this could be a level where you can long from, wherever the Ethereum price is then. If you want to play it really safe, wait for a close above the $2,600 level on the 1 hourly chart or the 4 hourly chart, and long from there into $3,000. Now here you can see why we got rejected. Here on the VPVR was the last longest volume traded area around $2,600. And that's why I had that for quite a while, this line, because I told you guys, if we break that level, we're gonna snap really quick here to $2,800. And yeah, we could not hold it. That's why we got this small correction now. Here again, $2,400 was pointed out here on this chart. Now that might be our new range until we break $2,600. And again, once we do, I see us definitely going really quick higher, because there is volume-wise not a lot of resistance above us. Lose $2,400 and we might come back to 2,260. And then this here will be then our trading range. But for now, I don't see that. One reason why I'm not seeing that is the Ethereum Bitcoin chart, because we're about to break out here above a key resistance level at a 0.05993 Bitcoins against 1 Ethereum. Once we do, you're going to see another massive leg here to the upside, in my opinion, at least to 0.06472, 0.65, something like that. Most likely, and that also means that Ethereum will continue to outperform Bitcoin and will have a massive push also price-wise in USDT, and will drag along a lot of the other altcoins that are working on the Ethereum layer. Guys, that's it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Please make sure that you smash up the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and I will be back tomorrow.